Everyone, this is Chich here back again with another episode from Chicharito. Hope you liked my previous video on Rakuten Trade where I introduced a platform where you can actually trade or invest in the Malaysian stock market. Got in comments that that the app is not as nice or user friendly in terms of trading applications, charting, things like that when you compare with other bank brokerage apps. But I think is if you are a value investor or a long-term investor such like me, where you just need to buy or sell and hold, then I don't see any problem why Rakuten Trade can't be one. And seeing how you can actually open it fully online. But that's it for today's video. I'm actually going to talk about Interactive Brokers. It's a brokerage account that actually allows you to trade globally in foreign markets. Now, though we hate to hide behind disclaimers, but the thing is that we have to keep ourselves safe from any legal matters. And just to point out, I'm not a financial advisor of any sort. I'm just your casual financial enthusiast, who's just passionate about the topic, and I basically find things here and there based on my personal experiences, or from compilation from online, through forums or investment groups, that I've come across. So yeah, please do take note of that. And of course, we have some assumptions to go through here because this opening of the IB account has a rather broad scope, so I'm trying to narrow it down such that the video doesn't get too lengthy as a whole like my previous videos. Anyhow, I am assuming here that you have done your homework on the available brokerages for foreign trading. I understand there are like a lot of conventional popular ones out there like TD Ameritrade, /Thinkorswim. You've got eToro, you've got your local brokerage accounts offered like by Maybank, UOB, Hong Leong. You even have like Saxo Capital and a lot of other brokerages like these, right? And I'm assuming that you're aware of the implications you're getting yourself into, because there's like forex fluctuations when you're trading in other currencies, like USD, Hong Kong dollar, SGD, and so on. There's also foreign withholding tax. For example, take the US, you will get a 30% withholding tax on the dividends that you receive. Moving on to the next point, I'm assuming that you have conclusively made your choice that Interactive Brokers or IB would be your choice to go after you've done all the research. And the reason you're viewing this video is to understand mainly how I'm assuming probably you are a new investor who wants to go to the foreign market, or maybe you're an existing interactive broker investor, but you want to invest or trade without incurring any inactivity fees. So just to give a background on the inactivity fees, I think a lot of people do not know about this. So based on my last checking, for IB, for a pure IB account, that means if you just open with IB directly, you would need a minimum portfolio amount of 100 USD, so that value, such that you don't incur the inactivity fee, which is USD 10 per month, which is a huge sum. Or if you don't have that amount, let's say you got maybe 10k USD in amount of portfolio with IB, as long as you incur USD 10 monthly every month, then they would not impose you this inactivity fee. So but these two choices are actually very, very costly, especially for beginners like you and me. Hence, there's actually another way to this, and we will see after this why we want to go with this method instead. Now recall earlier, right, that I've talked about the pure IB account, where if you were to open it, if you don't want to incur any inactivity fee, you need to have like a minimum of 100k in portfolio value in USD, or you need to trade at least 10 USD per month, such that you're not imposed the same amount of fee. So that is why I will introduce you the TradeStation Global account paired together with the Interactive Broker account. So before we go into the why, let me just explain what TradeStation Global is. So TradeStation Global is basically like a middleman between you and Interactive Broker. So I'm presuming that the business model here works such that they are in a way renting the brokerage platform from IB, and giving us the lower tier investors a chance to be part of it with a low portfolio value, yet not incurring any inactivity fee. So as a trade-off for this, we would have to pay a higher brokerage fee through TradeStation Global's pricing, as compared to the pricing you will get at IB. So typically the pathway here is to start off with a TSG plus IB account, and then once you have accumulated like a big portfolio, let's say 200k or 500k, then you can convert that into a pure IB account. So that is how the path is going to be. And also kudos to the Lawyer forum. The link is down there under sources, as well as the Medium article. I've actually read through some of these that actually gave me the info as well as the reassurance. I've also done the checkings myself that this platform is legit, and it actually works well. I've also personally opened it myself, and I do not face any issues at all. So we have run through what TSG is about and why we need TSG to go together with the IB account. Let's run through in terms of the benefits that it offers. So it's a very easy application process. I can say this because I've just opened it a few months back. It takes approximately 15 to 30 minutes. It's very easy. I'll be also running through briefly on how it works out later on the real website itself, so stay tuned for this. Moving on, there's also a wide market accessibility here. So if you think of think of Swim or TD Ameritrade, they only offer the US market, whereas IB itself offer a huge range of market there. You get the US, you get the Hong Kong, you get Singapore, Australia, and Europe as well. Moving on from there, we actually have a relatively higher brokerage fee as compared to the pure IBKR, but it is actually still low. If I recall correctly, you can actually go into the link, which I'll put in the description below. It's actually only about USD 0.007 per share. So if you were to actually buy 100 shares, it will only cost like 70 cents in brokerage fee in terms of commissions. And in terms of inactivity fee, notice how there's actually T and C's applied. So because to actually not have inactivity fee, what matters here is that you need to have a net liquidated value of 1000 USD in your account at the point where they were to calculate how much you have left. So what net liquidated value means here is that your value of your stock together with your cash when added up. So stock will be at the point at the point of calculation if you were to sell off, how much does it cost, plus together with the amount of cash you have. This would have to be equals to 1000 USD at the point of evaluation of IB, such that you do not incur the inactivity fee of $10 every month. Also, there is no dividend fee at all. So if you do receive dividends from any companies in foreign stock exchanges, you do not get charged that kind of fee. Well, but you still get charged withholding tax if that country has it. And last but not least, IB actually offers the service of also converting your currency on the spot. So that means that if you were to send in like Singapore dollar, Hong Kong dollar to your IB account, you can actually like interconvert between different currencies. So I say I've got Hong Kong dollar in my IB account, I can convert to USD anytime I want, because actually IB they do forex trades as well. So that's how it works in the app itself. And also, to a lot of the people out there confused like whether TSG and IB which one will I be using later on after I open these two accounts. So the key highlight here is that TSG is just a your, how do I put it, it's just like your flight of stairs, your supporting stairs to get you to the level you want, which is IB. So in a way, once you open your TSG and IB account already, which I will show after this as well, then you would just ignore the TSG account and just do your funding in terms of deposits, your withdrawals, and your trades and all through IB itself. To put things into perspective, so think of TSG as like a stepping stone for you to go into IB, to use all of IB's features, but the trade-off is such that you will have to pay a slightly higher brokerage fee, but with the added benefit of the no inactivity fee with a low portfolio amount requirement. So it's just as simple as that. I hope that is clear, but if it's not clear, do comment below, PM me or ask any questions. I'll be glad to reply your questions. So I hope that was pretty clear in terms of how TSG as well as IB work hand in hand in ensuring that you get the best of both worlds, right? But at the end of the day, you would still be using IB, So without further ado, open up your browser. Let's move on to the hands-on account opening. Google TradeStation Global. Click on this first link that you see. Waiting for the page to load up. Notice how IB logo is there, which means they actually have some form of collaboration or business relationship going on. Go to open an account. Let it load for a bit there. Now you notice that once you go to this page, there's a new application as a current IB client page. So if you are a current IB account, but you don't have 100k in USD worth of portfolio, or you are not incurring 10 USD per month in terms of your trades, then perhaps this can be an option to you. But for myself, I'm not too sure of this, and I've done it. I've only done this, so I'll be going through just this in the video. So you click create an account. Will bring you to this page here. I won't be going through the filling up of this step by step, since I already have an account, but what I can guide you is through these processes here and some teeny weeny tidbits which I think should be highlighted throughout your account opening. So for part one, it's just your typical contact details, your name, things like that. Then you'll be selecting an account type. So assuming that you're not a business, you are just by yourself, an individual, then the account type that you'll be opening is an individual type. And then after you're done with that, they will bring you to the Interactive Brokers website. So don't be afraid once you're doing this on the TSG website and they suddenly bring you to the IB website. That is totally normal, so it's okay. And some people get routed to the Australian website. I did as well, so don't be scared as well, because apparently based on forum users feedback, they route you to the nearest server based on your IP. Once you're done with that, you'll be moving on to part 3, where you have to upload your proof of identity. Don't use ID card. I tried the Malaysian IC. I'm not sure if you have another foreign citizenship, but for me, passport works well. Because when I used the IC, they rejected and asked me to submit my passport instead. Proof of address is simple. Basically, your phone bill, electrical bill, or your bank statement would do. And after that, you would receive your account approval within 48 hours. So once they have approved of the account, then only you fund the account. So, and the minimum amount of funding is 1,000 USD. That is right. And apart from that, if I'm not mistaken, throughout this account approval process, there's also a note there saying if you were to fund your account during the account opening stage, they will expedite your approval process. I'm not sure how true that is, but I only funded mine after it was approved. Once you're done with getting your account approved, by this stage you will have your IB login details already, but you won't have your TSG details yet. So once you've funded, they've confirmed it. So and then after that, TSG will be sending you like a platform download instruction. So they'll tell you that if you want to use our trading platform, then please do this with these login details. But to be honest, like for me, I don't use TSG's platform nor even their login to do things. So I just basically from after stage 4 onwards, I just basically use the IB app or their own platform, which is Trade Worker Station TWS directly. However, if you want to explore TradeStation Global's platform, you would have to download both Trade Worker Station, which is IB's one, together with TradeStation Global's platform to use this software by TSG. So either you can use the IB's platform, or you have to use IB together with TSG at the same time. That's how I understand it from all the foreigners out there. And that's about it. You will have a working TSG and IB account after you complete these 5 steps. So after this, we'll be going through some miscellaneous items which I think will be crucial in terms of your opening throughout here. So one key thing that will be highlighted will be in terms of money transfer to Interactive Broker. So yeah, this is quite a hot topic. So do stay tuned for the section after this. So, seeing how that we've gone through, I think, a lot of the chunk for TSG and IB, I think a lot of people here would still be skeptical. So, I purposely created this space here to answer some of the burning questions. But, I think some of them won't be answered, but, feel free to comment and reply. That's it as well. This section here is actually compiled mostly from the FAQs I noticed in Forum Laoyat. So yeah, kudos to them to actually having the exchanges there, and this is basically me pre-packaging it in a video format to explain. So what's it to do with regulatory and IB? The thing about IB is that you've never really seen it in Malaysia. It's because it's not licensed over here in Malaysia, but rather it's licensed in the US. So as you can see, it's actually a member of FINRA. So FINRA, I forgot what the full name is, but it's an acronym for, I think, Financial Regulatory Authority or something like that. And do note that IB is also listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, so everything is transparent in terms of their auditing, their accounts, things like that. That's why I have faith and trust in terms of IB. And so there are rules with regards to regulation in the US. If you look over here, if they do become bankrupt, another broker takes over. It's business as usual. So as an example, Bear Stearns being taken over by JP Morgan. Or SIPC, I think it's another authority, a financial one, is invoked to liquidate your securities with IB to get back the market value back. And another authority, I think FDIC, is invoked such that you get your deposits back. So yeah, regardless how the risk is covered in the sense that either someone will take over or your securities will be liquidated to pay you back in cash. So that's from Laoyat. It was like an answer from a forumer. So I went to IB's website to have further look. So here's the source here. So as you can see, that actually licensed with a lot of authorities here. There's the FCM Future Commissions. There's also the Commodity Exchange Act, Commodity Futures Trading, and yada yada yada. There's a lot. But I think the main thing here will be the Securities and Exchange Commission. They are abided by that. So this is equivalent to our Securities Commission Malaysia. And I think one interesting note that one of the forumers mentioned was to do with what was this? Yeah, this official statement from Securities Commission when someone was asking on eToro, because eToro, if I'm not mistaken, is licensed in the European, not in the European, but licensed by one of the European Securities Commission. So what they said in the official statement to eToro, but I think is applicable here, is that Malaysian investors who deal with unlicensed persons, so in this case IB as well, especially entities operating offshore, are not protected under Malaysian securities law. So in this essence, we are exposed to various risks, including fraud, money laundering, blah blah blah. But once again, seeing how IB has had a very long track record, they are listed on the stock exchange, and I do see them frequently mentioned by a lot of investors, regardless of age or experience, in forums as well as investment groups. So I don't see any issue why. But yeah, do comment if you think this may be an issue. Another interesting quip that I noticed in the Laoyat forum thread is the risk to do with inheritance tax. So in other words, it means that if you were to die, then touch wood, then claiming back that money would incur an inheritance tax. This is what this long paragraph is trying to say here. Now that's just one thing in terms of the inheritance tax. The second thing would be that if you were to transfer back a huge money, assuming that you made a lot of money and you die, the transferring back of money might incur an issue with Bank Negara as well, especially after the 1MDB cases, where we had actually a lot of money laundering, and hence even transferring money within a local scene as well has its own limits, in a daily basis. And the second comment here echoes the same sentiments as well in terms of estate tax as well as capital gains tax. However, around 60,000%. So I actually did a googling on this. So I googled and I came with this info here based on this source here from this website called Taxes for Expats. So I find that we actually do not have any capital gains tax. So capital gains means after you sell off the stocks and you earn profit from the capital appreciation, we only get tax 30% for any dividends that we receive from US based stock investments. But yeah, just as the other forumer said in the previous slide, the estate tax is 40%, but that's only applicable to US assets above 60,000. So below 60,000, it's exempted. So that's the limit that they set. And yeah, there's also a note here that emphasizes that a non-resident, which is us, non-resident stock holdings in American companies are also subject to estate taxation. So this is something I think a lot of us need to take note, as we get older, maybe close to our 50s, 60s, close to retirement, where it may be best to bring it back to Malaysia to prevent the hassles, not just for our descendants, but probably even for ourselves when we want to repatriate back some of the money for our retirement use. Now that we're done with the boring stuff, such as the estate tax, the whatever taxes we have when we die, as well as the regulatory info we had just now, let's go through the fun stuff, which is the funding your account, depositing money inside. Now take note that we are now discussing how to fund money into our IB account, not TSG TradeStation, because TradeStation is just your stepping stone. Alright, now let's clarify. Let's just go through the comments here. So to point out about these two comments, what it's trying to say is that for the first one, there have been occasional reports by forumers here and there with regards to transferring money from local banks via OTC, over the counter. So when people mention the name Interactive Broker, the TTs usually get rejected because Interactive Broker itself is involved in Forex, and since Malaysian governments, especially Bank Negara, aren't happy with people dealing in Forex trading and it's not legal, so it really makes sense for the local banks to block. So we had one case with that, but then again we have another forumer here saying that he or she actually went to Bank Islam, the irony, to actually do a transfer. So and apparently it was successful. So hence we actually have contradicting statements here. But stay tuned, because at the end, there's actually a summary telling about the different ways we can deposit money. But there's just some observations that I've seen, inconsistencies between the banks. Moving on with the topics on funding as well, take note of this small square here where someone actually did their transfer online instead of over the counter, and it seems like it worked for Maybanks, though we haven't heard of other people doing from other banks yet, but what they stated here is that the TT fees, which is the wiring or telegraphic transfer fee, is 10 ringgit, whereas there's other charges which is amounted to USD 23 here. And if we were to have the money transferred from your brokerage account in IB back to Maybank, the other charges is USD 22. So we can see that it somewhat totals up to around 23 times around 490-ish, around 100 plus ringgit per transfer, though I'm not too sure whether this other charge depends on how much you are transferring as well. So that is one question we have yet to find out. I've not found the answer yet. Alright, moving on to this bigger square here, where actually someone did a comparison between transferring using Maybank, which they did, and comparing it to the XE.com rate, which is usually the benchmark that people use to compare if the remittance is worth it or not. So they found that they've done two calculations here. One is 0.9% and the other one is 1.1%. So in a way, you're not losing too much, I suppose, on a percentage basis. So people are actually okay with this TT fee as long as it brings up the safety and the convenience, and they don't really have to do much job in terms of figuring out what's the best way to transfer either through a fintech company or any other money remittance companies. But we'll see in the summary later, which I said earlier, on what other ways there are to do this efficiently. With the deposits part covered pretty thoroughly, I would think, let's move on to the inactivity part. So for this part, I initially thought, remember how I said that the inactivity fee was like $10, right? For if you don't have a 100,000 portfolio, or if you can't incur that amount of brokerage fee. So it turns out that was only for the the pure IB part of it. So if we were to go with TradeStation Global, as we can see in this quote here, so the balance to maintain is 1,000 above, but if you don't maintain that, you get charged a USD1 minimum activity fee instead of the $10. So it's actually much lower than I expected. And some of them actually confirmed this. So CS here refers to customer service. So it says here that IB would charge a $1 minimum activity fee as part of the agreement between them and with TradeStation Global. And yeah, just to clarify, if the balance is 2,000 but with no trading activity, is that minimum activity fee about the main activity fee, your understanding is correct. As long as you maintain account balance of 1,000, there's no minimum activity fee. And so account balance here refers to the combined balance of both your cash as well as your stock holdings. So it's added together, not just individual sections to it. So yes, agree with this comment. Yeah, $1 isn't so bad. So we got our information right. I actually went to the TradeStation website, which is this link here, and found out through their FAQ, FAQ within FAQ, how beautiful, that that the minimum level of trading activity is nil. But they do say that they do reserve the right to review inactive accounts on a regular basis. So I suppose if you were to just buy or sell maybe like a few times if you're like a value investor like me, perhaps they'll send an email or call you up just to make sure that everything is okay, you're still using the account and things like that. So I don't think they'll abruptly close it based on how things are going currently for me, because I've actually opened the account few months back, but I didn't fund it, so they actually tried calling me a few times, sending me emails. So they don't really do things that abruptly. And I just opened my account, so yeah, probably in a few more months time or by the end of the year, I should be able to know as well whether I do get charged the inactivity fee, because I myself don't trade. I just buy or sell depending on company fundamentals. A while ago, we talked about deposits. So if there are deposits, there must be withdrawals, right? It's a cycle. You want to be able to fund your money, but at the same time, you want to be able to withdraw it, for your personal use. But seeing that I'm a long-term investor, I'm more towards putting in the funds, all the way, but only taking it back probably when I'm close to retirement. But that's it, all opinions are respected, and I understand that people would want to withdraw. So based on this comment here, some people actually find that going through so much stages in between, like going through so many intermediaries or middlemen, just to get the fees minimized, is too mafan or cumbersome. So what people do is they just transfer it back to their bank directly, from the IBKR app or platform. So it really depends what's up for you, but for people who wants to save every cent that they can, there's actually another method. For this one here, I believe it's not confirmed, but I think we'll look at this in the summary later on. But for this one here, it's interesting how people actually open up a Singaporean bank account, like a typical savings account, and they have the money sent from IBKR to the Singaporean bank account in SGD, and then sending it through Instagram or TransferWise, to their Malaysian bank account. Yeah, as you can see, it's a very, very huge, not huge, it's a very long, winding journey just to get back money. So if you don't want to go this path, where my mouse go. If you don't want to go this path, then yeah, perhaps this path is the one for you. But we'll see in more detail in the summary where this is clear cut, on what you have to do. We have finally come to a conclusion, the last part, which is the summary. So special thanks going to these farmers out there, as well as the person who's compiled this, which is Muset. So special thanks to Ramjade, DWRK, Yggdrasil, Paul Linkers, Aries the Great, Lake Ambiance at TOS, sounds like thanks to him there, and also a whole bunch of other forumers who are actually part of this. You can actually go check out the link, which I'll be putting in the description below as well, for this lawyer forum thread. So what the summary is trying to say here, which is actually compiled by Muset, is that you can actually open your IBKR account via 3 different ways. So you got the pure IBKR account, you got the TradeStation Global TSG, which is the one I've run through in this video, or CapTrader CapTrader is another solution that someone has found out, but you can go and do your own research. But there was someone in this IBKR thread that said that TradeStation Global rates are actually much more better than the CapTrader rates. So it's really up to you. And here's just a reminder that if you were to open a pure IBK account, you stand to have an inactivity fee of $10. If your total portfolio is not above 100k USD, or if you can incur that minimum brokerage fee of $10 per month. And while TradeStation Global, the inactivity fee is not incurred if you were to have a total portfolio amount of above 1,000 at least. And if you do, you just get charged an activity fee of $1-ish. And over here it mentions about how you can use the traders workstation. So this is IBKR's platform. So think of it like your portal where you sign in to do your trades and things like that. That's available on both Windows and Mac OS, whereas the one by TSG itself is only available on Windows. So it seems like both don't cater to Linux. So yeah, I think that's for part 1 of the summary in terms of the opening of the account and the benefits and the disadvantages. So this is part 2 of the summary and focuses on money transfer. And you can see actually 6 ways you get money transfer. There's like a lot, right? So we're kind of like burdened by choices, such an amount of saturation. That's it. I personally tried Instagram, haven't tried the other 5, but let me just run through you guys. So for Instagram, it's a money remittance company. Think of it like your merchant trade, right? But they do everything online. So they're like a fintech company, financial technology. So you just open your account with them, and then you tell them that, hey, I want to transfer 1,000 Hong Kong dollar worth of money over to IBKR, and they'll calculate to you, oh, you need to deposit, let's say 900 something ringgit to get this 1,000 worth of Hong Kong dollar across. And everything's transparent in terms of the fees. And at the moment, myself included, together with the foreigners, we have tried transferring Euro, HKD, and Singaporean dollar, and it all works. Personally, I've tried HKD only, so I might try Euro and SGD the next time I do consider investing in those stock exchanges. Also, before I go to CMB, I have to touch on TransferWise because it's the exact same concept as Instagram. Instagram is a local company, I think, or Southeast Asian. As TransferWise not originated from the US. But TransferWise, you can transfer AUD, GBP, Euro, and Hong Kong dollar. Apparently, SGD is no longer possible. So take note that these are tested ones so far. So there may be other currencies that you can try transferring over. Do take note if your transfer actually gets rejected, it may take weeks to actually get back the money. Doesn't mean that you won't get back, but it takes a long time to wait for your money to come back. Also, we saw that Bank Islam, there was one person who got lucky, doing it over the counter. Although we know, a lot of banks are wary about this because of the Bank Negara policy. I presume here, Maybank internet banking also confirmed to have worked around 25 USD of fees. BigPay, same concept as well as TransferWise and Instagram, but just that you can't enter your reference number. Reference number here will be your investor number. When you open an investor account, you have like an investor ID. That's how all these brokerages identify you. So you can enter in BigPay, but people have tried without entering that reference number, and somehow it works. I'm presuming it's because when you transfer to that IBKR account, they apparently open this specific account for you. So that is why it still went through even though you don't put that reference number. That's what I think. And apparently BigPay somehow only tried with SGD so far. We haven't seen with other currencies. So now that we've gone through all the other methods here, let's go to CIMB, the last one. Okay, CIMB is a bit complicated because people actually open a CIMB Singapore account first because people are kind of kiamsiap with all the fees. So what they do is that they actually transfer money from their CIMB Malaysian account to the CIMB Singapore account. using Instagram or TransferWise, because apparently TTing within the same company but different countries costs a lot of money as well. And after that, they transfer from CME Singapore to IBKR in SGD. I personally haven't tried this method, though for me I would think the best so far would be either through Bank TT directly or Instagram / TransferWise / BigPay, your fintech companies. Moving on to the not proven part, people tried to deposit USD via Instagram, or TransferWise. I've actually read through the forum around 50 plus pages of threads. Some actually tried, but it keeps getting rejected. I think one person even tried like 5 times. Yeah, I think there's something to do with this USD transfer where they don't allow third-party transfers, because when you transfer through Instagram or TransferWise, it doesn't transfer under your name, but rather the companies actually have their own bank accounts to help do the transfer. That's what I understand it. Then this will bring to a lot of questions on how do they do it, right? So I read it on the forums, but then again, I have not done the research because reading the whole forum actually took a lot of time and exploring the different options of money transfer and all the minor details like the fees and all is very how to say long winding to actually research through. But what I roughly understand is that how it works is that you submit a request to Instagram to do the transfer, and what Instagram does is that they instruct, once they receive the money from you, they instruct their respective probably partnering banks or something like that to actually transfer the money locally within that country to to that person or business that you want the money to go to. So say for example, I want to transfer 1,000 Singaporean dollars to IBKR Singapore, right? So basically at Instagram, I want to do this. I give them the money. Instagram will probably instruct one of their partnering banks or financial institution in Singapore to transfer that money to IBKR Singapore. So that's how it works. And another question will kick in again. If we can't deposit USD, then what's the point, right? But the thing is, the only way now is to actually transfer Euro, Hong Kong dollar, Singaporean dollar, or any other of the currencies that you see above here. So the point is that you transfer other forms of currency using whatever methods you can, and then after that you do a spot currency exchange. So you basically just convert directly on IB platform / app itself. I've done that, it works, and you don't lose that much. It's actually pretty close to the Google rate, I would say. An alternative would be to just do a direct TT transfer, like some people do it through Maybank Internet Banking. So that's the only way they can guarantee you transfer a MYR to USD directly, but you incur a lot of fees. And just heads up to people who want to use Instagram. I'm not sure about TransferWise. Instagram only charges 0.45% of service fee on the amount that you want to transfer. Yeah, that's right. And now we enter into the final notes addressed by Musat and the other forumers here. First point is trying to say that your base currency in IB doesn't really matter. So base currency here refers to when you get your account statement, I tell you how much you have traded, how much you have funded, things like that. So let's say if I would choose my base currency as USD, everything will be displayed USD. If I choose it as SGD, and the same thing will display everything in SGD in that account of that statement. So it doesn't really matter. You can put any currency you want, but put it as USD, right? Because that's one of the most famous currencies out there. It's a benchmark. And for the second note, for live market data, subscription fees may be required. Yes, actually a lot of brokerages do this because that's one of the ways they earn money, through live market data. I think it's a lot of data from the process as well. But if you're a long-term investor, this doesn't really matter at all. No. I mean, it's delayed, but I think, was it 15 minutes? Usually what I do is I just key in the price I want to buy or sell. I just set a limit price and I just leave it there. The last point, whether it's account opening or trading or money transfer, it's really not that difficult. Just click and you'll find your way. I will heavily agree with that, because the thing is that you can read all of this, but at the end of the day you gotta just click around, experiment until you find a way. And if you don't worry, you can always restart, open a new account, or you can always post questions under this video comments, or even go to this lawyer thread where you can remain anonymous and post your questions there. So it works that way as well, I suppose. And special thanks once again to all these beautiful people here, who have actually provided the exchanges, the opinions, the info, the guidance in the forum, compressed into this very gorgeous summary, which is actually absolutely clear in terms of what you can do in order to utilize IB in a different way for the US, not just US market, but for the markets all over the world, such as Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, there's even Japan, India, you name it. It's just a lot of exchanges. So yeah, if you think you have learned something from this video and you would like to see me posting more stuff, or you can always comment on what other things you want me to make on. Do give this video a like, do share it to any other friends or peers, your parents, your teachers, I don't know, man, anyone at all who may be interested in investing in overseas stock exchanges, but they like the funds, they don't want to incur those inactivity fees. Do subscribe and click the bell icon to make sure you keep staying tuned to more videos from TradeStation. So that's all from me for today, and I'm signing out. Thanks and see you later.